America didn't begin with a flag, or a constitution, or even a name. It began with a story. A story written long before the first Europeans arrived, long before the idea of the United States existed. A story of people, land, struggle, hope, and reinvention. This is the history of the United States, a nation constantly becoming, constantly changing, constantly redefining what it means to be free. Before the United States, for more than 15,000 years, the land that would become the United States was home to hundreds of native nations: the Iroquois Confederacy, the Cherokee, the Navajo, the Sioux, the Apache, the Pueblo peoples, each with their own languages, laws, spiritual traditions, and ways of life. They traded, farmed, built cities, formed alliances, fought wars, and created civilizations deeply in tune with the land. To them, the continent was not new, it was home. The age of exploration. In the late 1400s, European explorers crossed the Atlantic. First the Spanish and Portuguese, then the French, Dutch, and English. They came for wealth, land, religion, and opportunity. Some came seeking freedom, others came to dominate. In 1607, Jamestown became the first permanent English settlement. Life was brutal. Disease, hunger, cold, many died. But the colony survived and expanded. Only 13 years later, the Pilgrims arrived at Plymouth. They signed the Mayflower Compact, one of the earliest forms of self-government in North America. The seeds of the future United States were quietly being planted. Colonial America. Over the next century, 13 British colonies grew along the Atlantic coast. They became centers of trade, farming, fishing, and ideas. But the colonies were also built on the suffering of enslaved Africans. Between the 1600s and 1800s, millions were forced across the ocean in chains. Their labor fueled the economy of early America. Their culture shaped the nation in ways that still echo today. Colonists considered themselves loyal British subjects until Britain pushed too far. Taxes without representation, restrictions without rights, a king ruling from across an ocean. Rebellion began to burn. Revolution. On April 19, 1775, in Lexington and Concord, the first shots were fired. The American Revolution had begun. Ordinary farmers, craftsmen, and merchants became soldiers. George Washington, tall, quiet, steady, was chosen to lead them. And on July 4, 1776, the Declaration of Independence proclaimed something radical. All men are created equal. A promise the country has struggled, fought, and marched to fulfill ever since. After 8 long years of war, the impossible happened. Britain recognized American independence. A new nation entered the world. The Constitution and a fragile beginning. The Revolution was won, but building a country was a different battle. In 1787, leaders gathered to write the U.S. Constitution, a government based on laws, not kings, checks and balances instead of absolute rule, and a Bill of Rights protecting individual freedoms. But it was imperfect. Slavery still existed. Women had no vote. Native nations were pushed aside. America was free, but only for some. Still, the United States was becoming something new, a republic built on ideals and contradictions. Westward expansion. With the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, America doubled in size overnight. Millions felt a promise: land, wealth, new beginnings. But westward expansion came with devastating consequences. Native Americans were forced from their homelands, nowhere more tragically than the Trail of Tears, where thousands died during forced removal. America grew fast. New states, new inventions, new trade. But the country was heading toward a collision, a free North and a slave South. Civil War. In 1861, the divide broke. Southern states seceded. The Civil War, the deadliest war in American history, began. Abraham Lincoln fought not only to save the Union, but eventually to end slavery. In 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation declared enslaved people in Confederate states free. Freedom would require sacrifice, blood, and time, but the country took its first great step toward equality. In 1865, the Union won. Slavery was abolished, but the nation was shattered, and healing would take generations. Reconstruction and industrial rise. The period after the war, Reconstruction, tried to rebuild the South and integrate millions of newly freed African Americans into society. But resistance was fierce. Segregation, violence, discrimination, new forms of oppression replaced old ones. Yet America was transforming. Electricity, steel, skyscrapers, telephones, the Industrial Revolution reshaped the nation. Millions of immigrants arrived, bringing languages, foods, music, and dreams. America was becoming a mosaic. A world power emerges. In the 20th century, the United States stepped onto the world stage. It fought in 2 world wars, endured the Great Depression, struggled again to define what freedom meant at home and abroad. World War II changed everything. Women entered the workforce. Factories roared. The U.S. and its allies defeated Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan. In 1945, America emerged as a global superpower, but also entered a new conflict, the Cold War, the Civil Rights Movement. At home, African Americans demanded the rights long promised but never delivered. Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. marched for equality. Activists risked everything to challenge segregation. The movement faced violence, bombings, arrests, assassinations, but it changed the nation. New laws ended legal segregation. Voting rights expanded. America moved closer to its ideals. Innovation, culture, change. The late 20th century brought cultural revolutions. Music, movies, technology, from rock and roll to Silicon Valley, American culture spread worldwide. The first moon landing, the rise of personal computers, the internet revolution. A new century. The 21st century began with tragedy, the attacks of September 11, 2001. The nation mourned, and the world changed. Wars, political divides, economic crises, and breathtaking technological progress. Today, the United States is a nation of over 330 million people, shaped by immigrants, dreams, conflicts, innovations, and constant reinvention. Its history is not a straight line, but a struggle to expand rights, challenge injustice, and live up to the promise written in 1776. The American story. The history of the United States is not perfect. It is filled with triumph and tragedy, injustice and courage, division and unity. It is the story of a nation still searching for its ideals, still questioning, still changing, still becoming. Because America is not just a place, it is an idea powerful enough to inspire and fragile enough to break, unless people choose to defend it. The history of the United States is still being written, and you are part of its next chapter.